everybody. Welcome to When Calls the Hallmarkies. And this is the show where we like to talk about When Calls the Heart. We're finally back a year and a half.
Yay.
Whoa. Since we last recapped When Calls the Heart. Last time was February 2022 was our last episode. So that's crazy. And we're here to talk about the premiere of season 10. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Caroline is here.
Hey.
And Mary's here.
Hello.
Yes, so this is very exciting. Mary, this is your first time not being a guest, being like a regular co-host.
Let's do this. I know. And what better subject than When Calls the Heart?
Yes, very exciting. Caroline, were you just so thrilled yesterday? Finally was here.
Yes, I was so happy because it's been a long way. Like, dude, come on. Like,
it's like, who needs Christmas when
yeah,
we have
yeah.
When Calls the Heart.
Now we have When Calls the Heart, then it goes straight into Christmas. So it's just like the best second half of the year.
It's true. It's a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Good time to be a Hallmark fan, a Hardy. And we things are a little bit unsure of what's going to happen as far as like whether we'll have any other interviews of talent this season. We had our interview with Andrew Brooks, which y'all should check out. It was really good, very informative. But I know there was an actress who contacted me, not on When Calls the Heart, one of the other shows. And I said, well, why don't you talk to Hallmark? And then so they did. And because she's not a member of SAG, she's a member of the Canadian, I think it's ACTRA is what it's called, I think, union. And Hallmark said to hold off on interviews for right now. So anyway, we will just keep doing our rankings and other fun stuff and recapping. Actually, this week we are recapping Sweet Magnolias, All Creatures Great and Small, When Calls the Heart. And then next week we have and Just Like That. So it's all kinds of TV coverage right now on the pod. It's very exciting. And so yeah, let's dive in. Were you pretty excited too about this new premiere, Mary?
Oh, for sure. I just kept thinking, I need something like this in my life that's just so sweet and nostalgic because it's season 10. I was pretty excited to see Caroline was tweeting, like live tweeting.
Yes.
I was excited for you, Caroline. I was like, she has been looking forward to this. And, finally it's here for her.
It's finally here.
Yeah, make sure you're all following us on all the socials because we did have Caroline live tweeting. I know you're supposed to say X now, but I will not.
Yeah, no, it's tweeting forever. Yeah,
so
it's weird.
That's so weird.
This episode is called Carpe Diem, and it is Hope Valley faces an economic downturn together. Meanwhile, Elizabeth and Bill learn that the children of Hope Valley have made a discovery that could change the future of the town. And we also should say that we did a full preview episode last Wednesday. Our Wednesday episode was all When Calls Our preview, where we went through everything that had happened in season 9 and where we were at, and we went over each of the characters. So we won't be doing that today, but if you want more of that, I'll put a link. You should check out that episode because it was really fun. But yeah, so this episode overall, Caroline, what did you think of the premiere? Did you think it was a strong one?
I thought it was strong. I like the tone of the episode. It felt more fresh than the last couple of premieres. At least to me, it did. And I like seeing everybody back, and it was just nice to see everyone in town.
Yeah, what do you think, Mary?
Yeah, same thing, to see everybody back and cheerful together. While it's so interesting for me how they try to kind of address the passage of time that we've lived through, but then they are also trying to kind of address, here's kind of what's been happening. They don't just pick up from like last season finale next day. They address, we've had some time pass, because Rosemary's a lot more pregnant than she was.
Yeah.
For example.
That's
so
true.
they try to address a little bit and catch us up in this kind of monologue voiceover that Elizabeth does. So I kind of had to like quickly come up to speed and like, okay, now we're moved to this point in the story, but still some of it hadn't moved forward much while other things had, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for the most part, I thought it was a really fun episode. There was some stuff that was a bit of a head scratcher. It's like, oh, and I don't know if it's just because maybe they got like bad feedback or positive feedback, so they're like, okay, we're gonna go this way. But yeah, there was some stuff I was like, oh, that was really odd that you did that, but but for the most part, I enjoyed it, and I think it's gonna be. I have a feeling that this season is going to be lighter, more more fun, for lack of a better word,
Yeah.
than some of the previous seasons. I don't think we're going to be getting a ton of drama, which is
Yeah.
nice.
If they go deep, it might be still with that balance of that joyfulness with I think, with that light, I don't know.
I agree.
And I have also noticed, I mean, last season you definitely felt more of a faith-based component than they've ever had before, and then you continue to feel it this season. So I think we're going to see that, because as a reminder, I mean, they went like 3-4 seasons with no pastor in Hope Valley. It was not a faith-based show for a long time, and then since Joseph has arrived, we've definitely seen an increase in those themes of prayer and faith and those things, which is interesting
through his leadership and influence.
Yeah. So we find out that they lost not only the mine because of what Henry did, but they also have lost the foundry, evidently, is out, and the oil rig is also out. So just natural resources are it's a problem. But they set up this like swap meet. They're all trying to kind of help each other, and that was nice to see the whole community kind of come together, because that's what the whole show was sort of built on, is this sense of, it was originally Coal Valley.
Yeah, and maybe that's what Andrea Brooks was kind of alluding or referring to in her interview with you, Rachel, where she talked about those callbacks to previous seasons and that feel of this community togetherness. I sensed that in this swap meet too.
Yeah, me too. It felt more about the community, like this premiere, like, and I like that because it is a special place.
Well, and it's kind of funny. So Elizabeth is teaching the kids, but they're not like kids anymore. They're all like really old. I mean, they
learning Latin.
They didn't really get any new younger kids for the school. They're all over 15, I think. They all look old.
Sarah's new to the school, at least this season. Robert's little sister.
Oh yeah,
and that little boy Toby, he's new.
You're right. They did. You're right. But they just all felt so. I was like, oh my gosh, Opal's so old.
Even Opal, I'm like, oh, little Opal's not so little anymore. Can't call her little Opal anymore.
I know. The rest of them, like Allie, they're all in their arms and legs stage, where they're just getting longer and leaner and taller.
Yeah. And she's teaching them, like you said, Latin, Carpe Diem. Of course, you always think of Dead Poet Society.
I know.
Oh, Captain, my Captain.
That's why everybody knows that phrase in America. Yeah. And Canada.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't have that movie there.
It's a good movie. When I was in college, I had this one friend who like could not stay quiet during a movie. And like, I actually don't really care that much about people being on their phones, especially at like someone's house. Like, it doesn't bother. Like, I don't even notice it. I'm just so like, whoop. But if someone's gonna talk, that drives me crazy. And this, I mean, I don't have my phone, but I'm just saying personally, what distracts me is someone is talking. And anyway, and I had this friend in college who she just would just talk and talk, and particularly asking questions. Like, she wouldn't let the movie kind of play out and answer
Oh,
those
no.
questions for you. You know, like she'd be like, why is that person going in that room? What are they doing? Where are they? And like, I just remember watching Dead Poet Society with her, and you'd be like, why are they outside? What's his dad doing? Like, oh my gosh.
Why are they on the desks?
Yeah. And,
Like, just watch the movie.
and in retrospect, like as an adult, I watched that movie and I'm like, what is these parents' problem? Their kid wanted to be in a play. How dare? I mean, Shakespeare, no less. He's out of
It wasn't like
control.
In the Heights or Rent or,
Yeah, exactly.
Les Mis, where it's a little scandalous.
Right.
Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
That was my roommate during Somewhere in Time. You ever see that movie with Christopher Reeve?
Oh, yeah,
But she was like loud, ugly sobs. We just were like, oh, okay.
That would be a good movie to review for, I don't know, I bet Hardee's would love that movie. It's very, I feel like that's very Hardee's.
Yes.
You know.
Time period, the clothing,
sure. Yeah.
The love story.
Anyway, it was nice to see Elizabeth actually teaching again because it's been a while since we had like a really real like lesson. She was outside still, like, so I guess there was still some COVID-y stuff happening.
She was. That's right. They weren't in the classroom.
Yeah.
I can't remember if she explained it. Maybe my brain just felt it like, oh, she needs a diversion. They're going to be outside, or maybe it was so that those kids could sneak up and sit on the back after recess from their excursion to where that they reveal later.
I guess she was showing them to seize the day. Like we can be outside and learn. We can seize the day.
Yeah. So we have we find out that Fiona, May, and Faith are roommates. And this was the part that I was just like, what? This was very weird to me. I felt like they must have gotten a lot of feedback that people were into, what do they call it, Faith and Nathan? Team.
Oh,
Maddie Mountie.
What?
That's what they call them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I feel like they must have gotten a lot of good feedback from that, because the fact that they were just like completely in one sentence wrote off any interest from May.
Yep.
And, they have them roommates, and like the sole focus is evidently for the season going to be on Faith and Nathan. There was no question. That was very surprising to me.
I was too.
Me too.
I wanted to see it play out on screen. They say Kevin said like who knows, like who's it like, so maybe something happened. I don't know, but I hope
they could give us another triangle or quadrangle square.
Quadricle.
Quadricle. The best part of that was when they tell them they're moving into together, and she goes, "We don't talk about you." Well, hardly ever.
Yeah,
and then they sitting around talking about him drinking tea. Yeah, that was abrupt. May's like, "Oh no, I'm fine," and Faith's like, oh, "Okay, maybe thinking maybe," and that could have played out a little bit more with those feelings.
Yeah. I just wish that they had just gotten somebody new for Faith.
Yeah.
I'm still team Hickam and Faith. Like,
yeah, that could have been good.
mm-hmm.
Somebody with like a little bit of nerd in them, you know, which Hickam has.
He needs a romance. I'm forever team Hickam.
I know. I was saying that to my husband on the couch. I'm like reminding him of each character because he's like, "Okay, I'll watch this with you." I'm like, "That's Hickam. We like Hickam. We want a good future for him." He's like, "Okay, team Hickam."
Yeah.
Team Hickam.
Yeah, it would be fun if they brought in somebody with like, you know, who they'll never do it. I don't know why, because Hallmark just totally doesn't seem to know how to use Madison Smith effectively, but he would be perfect for like a nerdy guy who comes in and is the love interest for Faith. He would be perfect.
Wasn't he? I think he was on When Calls a Heart.
Was he?
Something. As a guest.
Oh, there have been a lot over the years.
He was, but maybe it was just a one-off. That's okay. They've used other people twice. It would be fine.
That's right. They have Andrew Walker. Even he could come back. Or Niall Mater was in one.
Oh my gosh!
They should have used him more. I loved him.
Yeah, he was really good. I don't know, just somebody. It would just be nice if she for once had her own thing.
Tyler Hines can come in. Boom.
See that? I cannot picture him in like old.
Can you imagine?
Timey clothing. So now he could do, because I recognize this. It felt like that episode had a ton of people in shirt sleeves and suspenders. Did you guys notice? They didn't have as many suit jackets and all the way dressed. So Tyler Hines in shirt sleeves and suspenders, I could see that.
Yeah.
But
it's because it was supposed to be summer, wasn't it?
Oh, I guess that's true.
Yeah,
yes, because she says they're planning a fall wedding, says Elizabeth. Me, I'm like, you're on the frontier. Go find the pastor. Go find the minister. Just get married. But
yeah.
Have you seen the stuff on Twitter about that? It's all about elopement. Joseph's down the road. Like, just do it. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. So Elizabeth, she's all for it. She's like, we could always elope.
That's right. And he says no. He wants to have a wedding. Usually, isn't it?
He says no.
I don't know. Yeah,
I think he'll change his mind. I think
something will happen.
Yeah, because why would they set it up so big? Like about the
I can see you're right.
And then like stuff happens, life happens, and they just can't have time. And then elopement.
Hamilton happens.
Romantic if they kind of did what Jim and Pam did on The Office, and they went and got married and then went through with the wedding.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
I love that
secret
idea.
little wedding.
I love that. Just them and being so special, and then do the big thing with everybody and her rich family and his, I love that. Just them. Rachel, you've hit it on the head.
Yes. And they're just like, that way they could just be like, who cares? Whatever goes wrong, whatever has the whole,
because we've already done it.
Everything could burn down again. And like last wedding,
she should know. Like you can't waste time. Like you just gotta.
That's true.
Seal the deal.
Yeah.
Carpe diem. Seize the day.
Carpe diem.
Carpe diem.
Well, I mean, as we've said, like getting married and a wedding are two entirely different things. So you can get married and then have the wedding.
Well, and knowing your love, I'm being sarcastic, Rachel, of June wedding planning party movies. Yeah. Let's not have this season turn into a party planning.
Right.
Let's have the sweet things, like the inviting to be the best man and matron of honor.
Yeah,
so sweet. Lee and Lucas just hugging it out, back slapping.
I was glad that they didn't try to do something like super cringe, like make Lucas ask Nathan to be best man or something. Like that would be cringe. So I was glad that they stuck with Lee. That was much better.
Totally agree. And he was so excited about it. So sweet.
And I love that they want to be like they're writing them to be friends this season, because I wanted that last season because Rosie and Elizabeth are friends.
Friends is good. Best man, that's too much.
I'm talking about
Nathan.
Lee,
yeah.
Yeah.
Nathan and Lucas.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
you
and
were
Lee
talking
and
about
Lucas being
Lee.
friends.
Lee
Lee.
and
Oh,
Lee
okay.
and
Yeah,
Lucas.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And
because yeah,
with Elizabeth and Rosemary, it kind of makes sense that Elizabeth wouldn't even like thought it would be obvious, but then it makes sense that Rosemary would be insecure because she does have Elizabeth does have a sister. She does have, other people in her life she could ask. So that was a pretty good, conflict, of course. That
it was. She assumed, well, you should know. What did she say? Something about she doesn't love her sisters as much as me.
Yeah, that was so cute.
I
Their character's the
also
best.
I also liked the fact that Rosemary is down on Elizabeth's fashion. That's
Yeah.
Oh
really
my
funny.
word. One of the best things of the episode. I was dying laughing. Her
Dusty.
face. She's like, the funny looks. So there were two moments where she goes, okay. So it set it up when Elizabeth brings Rosemary a story she wrote, and Rosemary's like, oh, I'm banking articles for when the baby comes. With any luck, I won't even have to publish it. And Elizabeth gives a funny look like, wait, did I just get dissed here?
The best.
And then it replays when Elizabeth says, oh, I'll give you all my maternity clothes. And Rosemary gives a funny look like, oh. So she goes, I wrote this down. I was like, oh, Lee, I was not meant for pastels and dusty pink.
Yeah.
Yes, that was hilarious. I wrote that down too. I'm not meant to be Dusty Rose.
I'm not to be Dusty Rose.
Or Dusty, yeah, exactly. So she dyes it purple. Did you see on
Which
Twitter?
Was brilliant.
And maybe I saw, so brilliant to dye that. She's more for those deeper colors.
Yeah.
But then somebody tweeted, well, maybe Elizabeth wanted that dress back for another baby. And Pascal tweeted, she'll have to learn to love purple.
Yeah.
So that was so funny. Because I've been given maternity clothes and I'm like, and I just have to be like, thank you. But then what if they wanted it back? And I've already, exactly. So that I felt because you're friends, you don't want to ruin the friendship, but she's trying to do this service for her. And she's into fashion. She's just a fashionable lady.
Totally Rosemary. Yeah.
Well, it'd be fun if they kind of brought back a little bit of, because one of the things that drove me crazy in the preparation for Elizabeth's wedding is that the show kind of portrayed Rosemary as kind of in a negative light when she was the one that was doing everything. Like she was the one who planned this wedding in like 15 days for her friend and was trying to get everything done. And I never understood when Rosemary was kind of, I can understand how she would be energetic, overwhelming, maybe even, but negative outright when she was sort of seen, maybe I guess because she was seen as competition for Jack at the very, very beginning. And so that kind of, I never really understood the fandom that kind of saw her as in a negative light, because it seemed like to me, here she's doing this really nice thing in planning your wedding for you with almost no guidance. Like at the time they were like, we don't care what we have. Weren't giving her anything, and she had a limited time. Like if you're going to be really picky about what you want for a wedding, then don't have somebody plan it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like if you give them 2 weeks, then you're like, okay, great, good job.
I'll take it. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know. I just never understood the animosity that was sometimes there towards Rosemary, and I think it's mostly gone away. But I always loved the character from the very beginning.
Just so bright and vibrant and vivacious, and I love it. She acts so well. Yeah.
But it would be fun if they kind of brought a little bit of that back, with Rosemary planning another wedding for Elizabeth. And it would be funny if they were like, remember last time? And you only gave me 2 weeks.
That's true.
And then when Elizabeth tells her like, oh, by the way, we're eloping, like, just come. And she's like, what'd you do to me? Like, thanks a lot, friend.
She'll be so hurt. She'll be like, oh, but then she'll come around and be like, I love
Yeah,
that for you.
of course.
So,
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. Based off the TV movie streaming on Up TV Network, Just Jake is the story of an emerging country star who returns home and reunites with his high school sweetheart in this second chance romance written by Jamie Engel. Order your copy on Amazon today using our affiliate link, where you can access a QR code to see photographs from the set, download the movie poster, and grab the delicious ginger heart cookie recipe, an Engel family tradition. Visit the author at www.jamieengel.com and enter the Engelverse. That's jamieengel.com.
Downton Abbey, when Lady Mary was like, well, I've already had a big society wedding. Or is it, no, this is a new chance to celebrate with all our friends and family here in this community. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, because the first wedding wasn't a society wedding. It was like
That's
a
true.
small wedding at the church thrown together in 2
true.
weeks.
Yeah.
So if
I
she
remember
did
lots of candles.
Yeah, lots of cancels.
Or was that the proposal?
They cleared out Bed Bath and Beyond.
Mhm.
Valley.
So maybe this should be, because Lucas does come from also that sophisticated background, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That kind of same class level that she comes from Hamilton. So I
Yeah.
could see it, needing to be this elevated,
Yeah.
kind of
I bet we're
thing.
gonna get to some of that next week with Aunt Agatha
Yeah,
in town.
I think so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's the
Yeah.
best name for a nosy, bossy aunt.
Yeah, Agatha.
Apologies to any Agathas listening, but I've always loved that name for that kind of a character. Or Agnes.
Well, or is it?
No,
It's
I think
Agatha.
It's
Yeah,
Agatha,
Agatha.
right? Okay, good. Yeah, I thought. Well, I
bad.
mean, there's if any of you watched WandaVision, the big villain, Agatha. His name
Oh,
Agatha,
yeah.
which is such a great show.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But anyway, so they're definitely going with the Nathan and Faith. How do we feel as far as chemistry? Because I know most of us weren't that into
No.
Carson and Faith. Do we feel any more chemistry?
I was. The
Nathan and
one
Faith?
time I felt like Carson and Faith would work was when he drops his medical bag in the middle of the street and kisses her. I was like, oh, I see this. But then it just kind of did the roller coaster thing. So Nathan and Faith, I have to personally get over my hump of knowing that the actress is pregnant in real life and married. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm like, she's so if I can get over that hump, pun unintended, then let me think about it. I have to think about it still. I think he could probably have chemistry with anybody. I mean, they just look with those smoldering eyes. That's why so many people were on Team Nathan before.
Yeah.
And it could work, I think. I don't know.
We didn't see any baby bump though in this episode yet. I mean, this was so early on that I don't think
It's
we really
early.
saw any yet. But I get it. The mental.
I saw a moment where they were trying to hide it, and I could tell just because of now I'd listened to that interview you did with her, and so I'm like, maybe they're trying to hide it there. So I think I was looking for it and didn't need to. I didn't need to. I think they could. She's so sweet, and I think has this loving, caring nature that it could. I don't know. It could work.
Yeah. What do you think, Caroline? Do you feel the chemistry or no?
Well, like you said, I think Kevin could have chemistry with anybody, so it could work. They just have to make it work with the writing too, like how they came together for me to be able to be okay. This is going to work.
Yeah,
but I like Andrea. I don't like Kevin, so if they do end up that way, then I hope it's good.
Yeah. So I was a little bit confused with what was happening with Henry, with Gallon, because of course, we know that he's under like indictment for blowing up the mine. And I didn't understand though why, because he's obviously out on bail. Why did he come into the cell and why was he sitting there? And then leaving, coming in and out. Like it's not his Airbnb. Like I don't understand what was going on.
Three hots in a cot.
I was confused. What was going on there?
I think he's doing community.
Yeah.
Is he doing community service or something, or like
in the cell?
No, because I would say Kevin.
Leaving the cell to do community service.
Yeah, and then coming back. I don't know, but
because he says something about you don't need to do that, but but he feels like he has to, almost like he's punishing himself before before he goes through the judicial system.
For a
that's
second, I thought, are they just trying to fake it with this other police guy who brought the dog and make them think he's in jail? And then I kind of wondered about
No.
that. I thought it was weird. I was like, why is he coming and going from the cell? Like, that's not the way jail works.
No. Yeah. I should have gone back and rewound that part, but I feel like my takeaway was he's still awaiting trial and his punishment, and he feels like he has to be there, so he just keeps going back. And they're like, well, we don't need the cell for anybody else, so I guess you can say, but you don't need to. And kudos to them too, because in real life, at least in America, where I've covered these as a news reporter, these things often take a long time.
Yeah,
in
do.
TV shows and movies, it's like, oh, you were charged, okay, now's your trial, now, oh, you're sentenced.
Yeah,
That's true. They can drag. So it's hard. It must be so hard for him just waiting and waiting to find out.
Yeah. Well, especially if it's something that requires a jury and, all of that takes.
I think they said there's a pre-trial hearing in Hope Valley. So that Bill can't be a part of. Obviously.
Yeah, right.
So they have to bring in a different judge.
Well,
Bill, speaking of him, he's coughing. He doesn't seem to be doing well. He wasn't listening to Faith. He's not listening to the doctors in, I think it was Fremont, that he'd been to. Do you think that, I keep thinking that they're writing Bill off the show, but then he keeps remaining. But I think he was there shooting season 11, right?
He's there.
So no, I guess he's
okay.
He's not. But it sure seems like it, doesn't it?
I know. Well, whenever you show a blood on a handkerchief, it means consumption and they're gone,
Yeah, it's true. It's like, oh, a woman's nauseous, she's pregnant,
At least around the turn of the century, I learned this from Anna Green Gables. If you're coughing up blood into a handkerchief, you're consumptive. It's tuberculosis and he's done for. But I loved how Elizabeth's trying to trick him into exercising, because maybe that's the cure, is to just get his health better. So she's like, let's just go explore and see something, and we're gonna hike, and you're coming with me.
Bringing that walking stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's good for him. They're all concerned about him.
Yeah. So let's see. I was curious. So we have Lucas buying beets, a lot of beets, because evidently there's a lot of beet farmers. In Hope Valley. He's trying to help. I love beets. I'm a big fan. I love, especially when they're pickled. So they're like a little, I think they're really good, but
my mom likes beets. I do not like beets.
Like beets. And so then there's the prune and fake pie
cobbler.
The cherry cobbler. Yeah. Cherry.
That was so funny. He's eating it, and of course he's a good husband, so he's complimenting his wife, the cook. Maybe he liked it, and then she goes, "Wonderful, because it's this," And he's like, "What now?"
They're so good together.
Yeah, they are so good. But did you see Chris McNally tweeted Hardee's? He's like, #Hardee's. I'm gonna make that cobbler. Like, try.
Yeah, I wonder if I'm looking to see if I see anywhere that people used prunes instead of in place of peaches anywhere. The only thing is, I feel like prunes, I mean, you would have to cook them a long time for them to lose that kind of waxy texture that a prune has, as opposed to.
It was beets soaked in prune juice for cherry cobbler.
Oh, yeah, that's
okay. That makes more sense. I forgot what it was. I just remember being so confused.
Yeah, beets soaked in prune
juice.
I guess it would have similar texture. It'd be interesting. I'm gonna look and see if
let's do a Insta live of making this beets and prune and okay. I would not try it. I'm not adventurous in that sense.
Beet and let's see. I'm not seeing anything. I I've seen like different salads and stuff with beets and cherries, but nothing.
Mm.
I mean, I wouldn't
She's
think that
cutting
beets would be
edge.
that much more common than cherries, but cherries are extremely expensive even now.
Mm-hmm.
Get a pound of cherries, you could spend up to like $20 for 1 pound
Yeah.
of
Yeah, that's
cherries.
true.
See, I'm just seeing if I see anything. I don't see anything. I know. I think that's kind of interesting how they came up. I would be curious to know how they came up with that.
I know. But the Wind Calls the Heart cookbook.
Yes.
We're gonna need to
I
see.
wonder if
The
that was like
cherries.
a Depression era thing of like, oh, there's this great YouTube channel called Tasting History. Highly, highly recommend this guy, Max. He does these incredible videos where he makes like a dish from the past and then he goes in and explains like all the history around it. It's so
That's
interesting.
cool.
Everything from like any time period, not just and this is the kind of recipe that he would make is something like that.
Well, and does he cook it like they used to as well? Like over
Yeah,
an
yeah, he
open
tries as best
fireplace?
as he can to like
Nice.
to simulate the cooking of the era of whenever it is and use the spices. It's he has like millions of subscribers, but it's one of those
Oh.
cases where you're like, you deserve it because you make like really interesting, well done content. But yeah, it was funny. I mean, to see their face when they try to eat the pie. I'd be up
Uh-huh.
for it. I'm always up for trying something once.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
Remember that scene, and I just read this out loud to my children. So in Laura Ingalls Wilder, in one of the books, her mother I feel like she takes a green pumpkin and lots of sugar and cinnamon and bakes an apple pie for Pa. I can't remember. But that way of trying to make do with what you have and make it, for the rest. And I loved how they had that community dinner. What did they call it? The surprise, they kept saying.
Yeah.
Where they had beets there too, didn't they? Or
Yeah.
feel like they had different beet
Lucas
dishes.
and Minnie.
That was sweet. You're not going to the surprise?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
and Minnie, she's a good cook. Speaking of cooks, because remember how she kept slapping people's hands, reaching for her muffins in the scene in the kitchen? She's like, "Stop that!" to Joseph.
I love them. I love Joseph and Minnie.
I'm surprised they
nice to
haven't
see
asked
them.
Minnie to make the cake for the wedding yet. I'm sure that's got to be coming.
Oh yeah.
Do you think we didn't see Gustav yesterday? So I wonder if he's like officially back, so it can be Minnie's job for the cake.
He's still in prison. In the pub.
Poor
Well, so we have this whole thing with Allie writing this poem,
Mm-hmm.
and then Elizabeth really loves the poem, hopes that someday she'll feel confident enough to share it. And I was kind of glad that they didn't make I was expecting the ending to be Allie reading the poem.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of liked that they allowed her to, I don't know, that just would have been such a predictable ending. So there was like a little bit different. So we're going to get a little more growth from her character.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have everything solved in 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good. What do you think of our new dog? Do we know the name of this dog?
Scout.
Oh, Scout.
Yeah.
Scout.
Yeah. The little hint where he says, who said something about the previous Mountie dog we had wasn't so good either, and that reference to Jax. dog.
Yeah, Rip.
Mhm.
Yeah. I
It
do
was,
miss those were funny storylines with that dog. So
yeah.
I think they're hoping for the same with this dog to have those kind of storylines.
Yeah. It didn't really seem like a mounty dog though.
Yeah, it looked
Like
like
a working dog. It seemed more like a
yeah.
fun dog.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cute, cute
Well, he
dog.
I know it's a
failed. Didn't he
cute
fail?
dog.
I
Yeah,
know.
he failed.
Yeah, he failed training school or something.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't look like a hound, like a tracking hound or
Right.
whatever, because the TSA has drug sniffing dogs, and the police have those canines that are like, aren't they like Malamutes and German
Mm-hmm.
Shepherds? And this was
Yeah.
just a little fluffy,
Yeah.
like, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
Destined to be a
golden.
family dog. Yeah.
Oh, for
But it
sure.
was funny when Elizabeth sees those drawings, the
Mm-hmm.
adopted dog posters, and Nathan's like, "Oh no."
Like, why is he so hard on the dog? Like, dude, like it's a cute dog. Like,
I know.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't know.
so then we find out about these hot springs, and I think it's going to be a fun plot element.
mm-hmm.
It definitely is. When I saw the previews and they were hinting about or showing that there was going to be hot springs, I thought, how did they just come up? But don't the kids say that? Oh, we've been playing something we found at the creek that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't there before.
Yeah.
So it just kind of came up out of the earth and in a perfect rock circle. but
Yeah.
I think this is funny, funny, funny.
Yeah.
When I want to say Jack, when Elizabeth and Bill go to the hot springs and he's all like telling the kids like, okay, be careful and they're like, don't drown, and they both like stand up like we've been doing this
Yeah.
for
I
a
like
bit.
that the kids were like, sure, Bill.
Mhm.
we're gonna listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, it could be cold. It feels like the bathtub.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh
that
yeah.
was cute.
Really, really cute. I would love to find a hot spring suddenly in my backyard or somewhere
Me
because
too.
to soak my aching bones.
Yeah.
That's
Mm-hmm.
but you're right. We've been setting it up with this season or this episode of dire. We're feeling dire. The economy's bad. The town's struggling, and then all of a sudden this opportunity comes up, which the kids have been playing in and having a great time. And what's going to happen next? With them being shooed out of their favorite place, and is this going to become this tourist money-making opportunity, or that
Mm-hmm.
struggle between what to do with it will be fun to see play out.
Well, and we had a nice scene between Bill and Gowan, and they're saying, enjoy your time. It's a gift. Again, another reason why I think it seems like they're writing Bill off, but I guess not. I guess these springs are going to have like healing properties, which some springs do, but going to be pretty dramatic, evidently, for Bill.
Yeah, the pool of Bethesda going on here. Like.
Yeah, that's right. But it was nice. The community dinner was really good. That was very One Calls the Heart, very wholesome, you loved seeing that. And Joseph's prayer for the whole community was really lovely.
It gave me Christmas episode vibes.
Yeah,
so I really like that. And it was a good first episode, after a year and a half.
So
yeah.
Sweet.
And so then Elizabeth asked Rosemary to be the matron of honor. It's really cute. And I thought that when Flo stands up, she's announcing, like making a big announcement. I thought that she was going to say something bigger. Except she was just like, I'm grateful.
Yeah. Like, this isn't Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Give us something. I need more than that. No,
yeah. I thought she was going to say maybe that they were having a baby, or I don't know how old she's supposed to be. But, or just something, I don't know, something bigger, like they're opening a new store or something.
Yeah, I did think like an announcement was going to come about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then Elizabeth reads the poem. We also had this whole thing with Robert saying him and his family are moving.
Yeah.
And I mean, I kind of wondered, is Robert being written out of the show? Because I feel like they don't really know what to do with him or Allie. They're not old enough to have their own individual romances and stories really quite yet. even though they like flirted with that last year with Allie, but then it was strange. It was weird the way they did that. But I feel like they don't really know what to do with the two of them in particular. They can't give them kid plots, but they can't give them adult plots yet.
Yeah. What kind of things are they feeling? He's kind of feeling that responsibility a little bit, and the hardships of his family life. You can, at least I kind of read that into him. They could maybe do a little more with that.
Wasn't he thinking of becoming a Mountie at one point?
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
That's right.
That could be interesting.
I would like to see that.
I mean, in real life, he would definitely be 99% of the time would be a soldier, but since we're pretending that war doesn't exist, that's what would happen.
I know.
He's back for season 11, so he obviously they're staying, but he's grown up before us.
I know.
I was just really surprised too that May was just like, there's nothing with me but friendship at all. So like that's, I guess, not going to be a plot at all. It's not even going to be flirted with, it seemed like to me. And you made me wonder, is she not going to be in the show that much?
I kind of wonder if didn't give her much to do.
No, they didn't. They didn't like set any other new plots with her or anything. I kind of wonder, maybe they only had her for a couple days.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, because she had a lot more to do last season, more intrigue with this husband and the pharmacy. And then it was like, I don't like him, you take him, we're going to be roommates, this is fun. And then she's in the background.
Yeah.
So I know on social media she was filming a movie around the same time Kevin was filming Wedding Veil. So like, I don't know how much all that has to play of their time.
Maybe.
Yeah. Then let's see what else. So Lee ends up hiring Robert's dad, who had been really stubborn and hadn't taken the job, but now he's like has a bloated payroll, so he's going to be able to do it, and they leave it all in God's hands.
That was kind of poignant. Well, especially with that, is it Richard, his character, not wanting to accept that help, because he's saying, I see what you're doing, I don't need that kind of charity, I'm going to make my own way and be self-reliant. But then recognizing the kindness and how it would help his family to say yes to that. That was some deep kind of stuff wrapped up in those couple little scenes.
Yeah. It is a humbling thing to be looking for work, to be asking for work, it's hard. It's hard. Yeah. Most 99% of people, even to this day, get jobs because of people they know.
Yep.
And so you have to be willing to ask, have you heard of anything? Do you know anything? The kind of a thing. And unless you have some like super specific skill that like nobody else has, it's really hard.
Yeah, the networking.
Really
yeah.
And so then we have Elizabeth and Lucas. They kind of and together saying you're incredible, and don't forget it, kind of thing.
Did you notice those little moments that they had together? I don't know if it's the actor's choices or the director or the writer, but tiny things where he grabs her hands and kisses them, or he's got his arm around her. It was so sweet. And he's just idly rubbing her shoulder with a finger as his arm is around her. He's just stroking her shoulder. Those little touches just show that connection. I was really impressed. I just totally believe in them. I'm like, they are so cute. I can't take it.
They're good.
Did you notice the little twirl when they were dancing too?
Yeah.
Like, like, so cute.
That was good. Yeah. That's good. And then the Bill is at the Springs, and at the end, so we get our kind of little teaser. So we will be back recapping episode 2 and 3. So it'll be 2 weeks is how we do it after the premiere, and that should be a lot of fun. A lot of stuff going on. We'll look forward to it. And so if you're listening, let us know what you thought of the premiere. what you think of some of the choices they made. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments or on Twitter. And Caroline, where can people find you?
You can follow me at Twitter at Mina Caroline R.
Great. And Mary, what about you?
I'm Mary Richards on Twitter, Reporter Mary Richards on Facebook, and Mary Richards Reports on Instagram.
Great. We'll have all that in the description, and make sure that you're following me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. And also follow the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews, especially with a show coming back like this. It really helps people find us in the search if there's lots of reviews and five-star recommendations. So please do that on iTunes. Very much helps us. And also, if you are watching on YouTube, please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Most of our viewers are not subscribers. So if you're one of those people, click that subscribe button. It really helps the algorithm a lot. So please do that. We also have the patron group, which is the biggest way that you can help us. And you get, I think, the biggest bang for your buck of any patron group I know. And you could be part of our Facebook group. It's really fun. And then we also have the merch store, where we have tons of Hardee's inspired merch at the merch store. The most of anything that we have is Hardee's inspired. So take a look at that. That helps us as well. And thanks so much, ladies. This was a lot of fun to talk about a new episode of When Calls the Heart. And we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.